What is going on, commanders? Welcome back to another video, and today we are looking at officer skills and things that have been changed since the start of the game. But that being said, guys, we're going to go through, we're going to look at it, we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to be doing live testing with you to show very weird inconsistencies when doing some simple testing. Okay, it is genuinely going to be a big difference in the damage output as well as just the information we're being told. With that being said, guys, I hope this obviously helps you learn. If it does, please make sure you drop a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Let's see if we can hit 120 likes. I know that's a lot, guys, but you guys have been seriously coming through on the last couple of videos, so I love you all, guys. Let's jump into it. All right, guys, so in this test right here, as you can see, I currently have I and Lib. They are both obviously have no additional skills. It is just going to be an awakened I and then a decently leveled up Lib. Now, the only difference we're going to be testing in this first test is going to be his final skill has been changed. Now, it says here, increases the officer skill boost of this officer's troop against hostile bases by 40% when leading an artillery troop. Now, we do believe that leading just means it needs to be on a troop, because normally, as you can see here, it says on, for example, Flame, it says when serving as captain. Now, as we know, captain is if it's in its first position. So we do believe when leading means it's just on the troop, right? So let's see if there's going to be a difference. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to simply attack my friend Ghost here. We're going to simply get one skill shot off, and then we're going to pull back. So we'll get the skill shot off there. We'll get Liberty's skill shot off, and we'll pull back. Okay? This is going to see what the skill damage does when he's leading a troop. Okay? We'll get the battle report here in a second. But what we'll do is we'll quickly change these around so that Liberty is first again. And then we'll have I on secondary. As you can tell, there's no additional skills right now. We're just simply testing the position of these units. Now, the main reason I'm making this video, guys, is Eye of Providence's final skill used to say increases the officer skill of both officers on this troop by 40%. Okay? So now it doesn't say that it does both officers. It simply says officers troop. Okay? So by troop, does it mean both officers or not? Because they kind of need to clarify this. We're not too sure. But if this is the case, then they've actually made this officer weaker than it used to be. But now let's quickly have a look. As you can see here, the damage report, we done 48.8 million. So we're going to do the exact same test again, guys. We're going to bring this out and see if we get the identical results, which in theory we should, because I believe leading doesn't necessarily mean first. It just means it has to be on the troop. So we're going to get both of these skills come through, and we're going to see exactly the results here in a second. So now if we look at the test here, we hit 52.8 mil. Now, why is there a difference in skill damage when changing the two officers around? It makes absolutely zero sense. There is nothing in these two that explain you need to have them a certain way round. Nothing. Nowhere on there does it state that you need to have them a certain way round. So why are we not dealing the same damage depending on the position here? Because none of these officers offer anything that states when being a captain on the troop. And if anything, the only one that talks about when leading is this skill here. And if anything, we would assume it means when it's in charge, when it's at the front. Okay? Where it doesn't. Right now, he's dealing more damage when not being the captain, as you can tell from these results. The first result was when he was the captain, and as you can see here, 48.8 million. But then when Liberty was the captain, 52.8 million. These should be identical. Why are they changing? Now, there is one more thing I want to test, okay? And that is going to be to do with skill damage and normal damage. So, for example, the best way to get this is if I go to offense and we get this here. We are going to add a skill damage buff of 30%. And then what we're going to do afterwards, we're going to add, for example, this one here. And then we'll also add Thorn's skill that increases it by 20%. So we'll get 20% damage from here And then on the balanced one, we'll get another 10%. So that's going to be 30% damage versus 30% skill damage, okay? And we're going to see what the difference is in the results. Obviously, the 10% damage resist doesn't really matter in this test. It's not going to affect it in any way, shape, or form. Now, for the next test here, we're going to go through exactly the same. The only difference now, we are going to have 30% skill damage buff. So we should see a 30% increase in the outcome of this result. So let's give it a try. We're going to quickly attack his base one more time. We're going to get one skill shot off again. Here we go in a couple of seconds. There's the first and there's the second. Now we're going to pull back. Okay, now we're going to pull back, and what we're going to do is we're going to see the difference in the skills. Now we're going to remove this skill here in a second, and now we're going to add on the balance skill, and we're also going to add on the offense skill for Thorn. Now we have 20% damage and another 10%. So that's 30% damage. So we're going 30% skill damage versus 30% raw damage. Okay, let's see what the difference is. And also, let's check the battle report. So guys, as you can see from the result here, the first one was 52.8 mil, and the second one came in at 64.1 mil. So by adding a 30% skill damage buff, we have gained a 22% in skill damage. So not quite, but again, maybe they have a little bit more, you know, damage resist, but even then the damage resist would be coming out onto here. So why are we only getting a 22% increase in skill damage instead of the 30 that it says it offers? Now for test 2, we're going to quickly go ahead and we're going to see exactly the difference between skill damage and raw damage. There we go. So we got the skills off. Now let's pull them back and let's see what the difference is going to be between the two now that we've tested 30% skill damage and 30% just pure damage. So now let's take a look at the battle report here. So as you can tell, again, 52.8. This time the 30% increase gave us 68.9, which is actually a 31% increase in damage. So why are we getting all these different results? Why is there a different result between the round of the officer, as in what way they are around? And the second thing is, why is there a difference between 30% skill damage when we're only looking at the skill? We're not looking, for example, the actual damage done by like the main attacking volley of the howitzer. We're not looking at that, okay? That's not what we're testing here. Obviously, the skill damage won't affect the normal attack that it does, right? And of course, you might think, but this is more than this one. Why is that? Obviously, on this one, I might have got another volley in. With this one, I pulled back quicker. We can't 100% test that unless we count the amount of times I shoot the normal gun. But we are testing purely the officer damage dealt. And we are getting completely incorrect information here of what we should be receiving. What do you think about this, guys? Let me know down in the comments. All right, guys, so quickly, one final test I'm going to be showing here is actually going to be basically the test we've already done, where it's going to be the officers are going to still be in the same position here with Liberty at first and I at second, but I'm going to do the exact same test with the 30% skill boost here, and then I'm going to do the, obviously, the 30% damage here with it being on the second officer. So before, we had it on Liberty where it was on the first. Now we're going to see if there is a difference between it being on the first and being on the second. I don't think there will be any difference, but at least here we'll be able to find out. So guys, there's the first one. The second one we are going to do is we are in fact going to quickly remove this. Wait, what's going on? Alright guys, so my friend teleported because he was getting attacked from behind. So I've literally just done the test in here very quickly. I forgot to press re-record in the quick time I had. Okay, here are the results, guys. From the first test, it is 66 million. And this is when I had the 30% skill damage. So before, it went from 52 to 64. Okay, that was with the 30% skill damage. This time, we've got 66. And then before, we had 52.8. And then when we changed it, it went to 68.9. And now it's 69.3. So again, they don't make any sense whatsoever because they're the exact same skills on the exact same officers. Just one was on the primary officer, one was on the secondary officer. It shouldn't really make that much of a difference, okay? Now, if anything, on the first time around, the skill was increasing this one here, which is 2,000, right? So this skill here is 2,000. Now, the skill on the second one is only 1,500. So if anything, if you was to see any discrepancy in the actual skills that are taking place, you would think you'd see it here because this is less. Now, you might be thinking, but wait, maybe we're getting a bit of buff from here, but we're not getting a 40% increase. We're only getting a 2, 3, 4, 5% increase when putting it on this officer. So guys, to clarify, the skills that we have here are just not displaying the correct information. Furthermore, why are we getting different results between this and this being leader? Because none of them actually specify that you need to have it as a captain, and it just says you need to be on the actual troop. So I genuinely, guys, right now, I'm a little confused. Hopefully, we're going to get some information. I've tried reaching out to the team, and by the team, I mean Lilith. I've tried reaching out to Lilith to see if we can get any information further on this. I will come in with some updated videos as soon as I know more information for you guys. But I also wanted to point out a couple more things with skills being changed. Now, the officer skill here increases the skill boost of this officer's troop by 25%. It before said both officers on this troop. So they've changed the wording, guys. As you can see here, it said before both officers, now it doesn't. Same with Professor Payne. Professor Payne's skill said for both officers, now it doesn't. And Red Heat also said both officers, now it doesn't. And another one, this one doesn't really matter because no one really uses Percy anymore. But Percy, for example, it says here, and increases the firepower of all your troops within a 2 map grid. And also Vox here says increases all of your ground troops within 1 map grid. Again, this used to work for all allies as well. Just like if we click on here, firepower and that of all allied ground forces. So again, they've changed more skills. Okay, they've changed more skills around. So be careful, re-update yourself on all the skills because again, there might be something I'm missing. It's been a while since I've read through all of the different skills of officers, but maybe they've changed some more skills that I don't even realize have been changed. So please look out. Let us know down in the comments if you've noticed any other skill changes here. And finally, guys, the main reason I wanted to make this video is purely this skill used to say it would buff both officers on the troop. Now it only says this officer's troop. Does that still mean we're getting a boost to both or not? That's kind of what I really want to know. It's almost going to be impossible to really tell, but as of this moment, guys, the testing that we've done in the most accurate way possible, things are not adding up. So let's hope that we hear back from Liv soon. As always, guys, I want to say a massive thank you to tuning into today's video. I hope this has helped you sort of bring awareness to some of these situations and the, you know, the skills being a little bit displayed incorrectly. Hopefully we'll get some assist from Lilith soon. As always, guys, I appreciate each and every single one of you. If you haven't already done so, make sure you hit the subscribe button and drop a like on the video if this has helped you a lot. I love you all, guys. Catch you in the next video.